totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Angelo Rocha. I'm sure if you're a longtime fan of my show of Vet for Vets, this is a show where I take local Johnson County veterans and I sit down with them. And basically I interview them and I talk about their life before, during, and after their military service. Every now and then we have a veteran who has to change schedules, or we have a veteran that things come up, especially the older gentlemen, the ones that fought in Vietnam, Korean War. You kind of get the point. So today, because of my scheduled guest, he kind of changed. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the news. I'm going to talk a little bit about politics and a little bit about veteran issues, veteran stuff, and it's heartbreaking what's going on right now. Doesn't matter if you're pro-Palestine, or if you're pro-Israel. What's going on right now in both sides? It's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking, watching some of these videos that I've been watching. Because you have this militant terrorist group called Hamas just invading Gaza, killing a lot of Israelis. And Benjamin Netanyahu promised for every one Israeli that gets killed, 10,000 Palestinians or 10,000 of them would get killed. And he's keeping his word, because that's literally what's happening. So I can't tell people how to stop. I don't know how to make world peace. But all I know, what needs to happen is you need to have two people from each side have an agreement. And they have to talk about what's going on and how they can stop this. It's kind of like what's going on in our political spectrum, where one political party is always talking shit about one other political party, and it's vice versa. At this point in time in history, this is the most divisive point in American history, because we literally have socialists and liberals that are in power throughout the United States that are destroying this country. Doesn't matter if you're a liberal or socialist. I'm correct. They're making policies, they're making changes, they're making laws that are absolutely against America. Okay. Now, a lot of people are against the Ukrainian war. I'm not against the U.S. helping the Ukrainians, but the thing is, you got to help Americans first, okay? And one type of person in America that you need to help are people like myself who are veterans, people who fought, who got injured, who dodged bullets, who dodged mortars for the sake of this country and keeping it free. But how can you keep it free when we have people out there that are trying to take money from Americans and giving it to people that are basically fighting amongst themselves in a war that's literally been going on thousands and thousands of years? All I can say is that it's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Before I get started on my actual show about what's going on in today's news involving veterans and maybe even this war in Israel and Palestine, I just want to mention that if you're a veteran and you're going through a crisis, you're going through issues, you're going through a moment of unclarity, you can call it, a moment where you feel like you need to end yourself. Because right now, if you're listening and you are a veteran, or right now, if you're not a veteran, you're just listening to me just to listen to me. I'm telling you, there are so many veterans. Statistically, right now, it's about 22, 21, 23 veterans a day that killed themselves, all because of what's going on in their head. Could be through PTSD, could be depression, could be whatever, addictions, could be homelessness, right? We got winter coming up. A lot of veterans die during winter because they're too proud to ask for blankets. They're too proud to ask for shoes, so they freeze to death underneath the bridge, okay? And we have this happening right now to veterans. While we're sending billions and billions and billions, like Donald Trump would say, billions and billions of dollars over there to Ukraine and the Middle East, while we have our very own Americans just dying in the wintertime, dying in the summer heat, dying just from whatever bull crap is going on in the inner cities. Gang crime, rape, murder, shootings. But anyway, if you're a veteran and you're going through some issues right now, because I have issues, there's moments where I have depression. It's undiagnosed, but I don't need to have a doctor tell me that I have depression when I know I have depression, but I find ways to cope with it. And right now, there's a phone number you can call. It's called 988. Just imagine it's 911. 911, you call for emergency, something's going on. Then there's another type of emergency line. It's called 988. You call that number, and it's a real person. They answer and they try to help you, especially if you're a veteran, a first responder, or something where there's a job where it's very stressful. And they get in contact with people that can help you. Simply call 988 to get that help. So let's continue. In what many believe to be the breaking point between the Israel and the Gaza Strip, Palestinian militant group Hamas led an invasion into Israel via the Gaza Strip, marking the first time direct contact was made on Israeli territory since the first Arab-Israeli war in 1948 and 1949. Following attacks on the bordering communities and Israeli military bases, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu formally declared war. As one of Israel's allies, many have begun debating the responsibility of the United States and whether or not it should increase its military support. As of October 10th, 40% of Americans supported an increase in U.S. military aid to Israel. So now here's my question for my listeners and people that are tuning in. Do you think the U.S. should be helping Israel more, or should they be helping Ukraine more? Because what's happening right now is we're going to have a future. I'm going to predict it right now, unless it's stopped miraculously somehow. I don't know how, but we're on our way to World War III. We're going to have a lottery again. We're going to have the draft. This time around, I'm quite sure a lot of you, if you follow politics, you know a law was passed a couple of years ago that next time a draft was created, women this time will be drafted, not just men. Women probably will be put in supporting roles. But either way, I have a feeling an upcoming war is coming because Iran, Jordan, and a few other Middle Eastern countries threatened Israel and said, "Stop bombing the Palestinians, stop bombing the Arabs, stop bombing the people that are over there." Israel said no, so they threatened war against them, which has happened before, believe it or not. So now you're putting the U.S. in a position where they have to protect Israel because we've made a vow to them ever since World War II. I'm quite sure a lot of you know history, right? History repeats itself. Yes, it could be just a few thousand Israelis or Jewish people, but eventually it leads to something bigger. And what's happening right now is basically it's the death of humanity. The death of humanity. And people that are listening right now, your sons and your daughters are going to go to war in the near future. Okay? They're going to be fighting for a country that really doesn't care about them very much, if you think about it. Okay? Because you have a president who really doesn't know where he's at, a president who doesn't know what he's saying half the time, and he's supposed to lead the American people into another war that's upcoming with Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, Jordan, Hamas, and every other terrorist group or organization in the world. And the U.S. can only do so much. I don't know how America is going to get through this. All I know is that these veterans of ours are heroes. Some, okay, because I know not every veteran is a hero, because some of them just kind of stay in the United States. But either way, you're the 1% of the American public that chooses to fight for this country. You go overseas and you fight for this country. Why would you even volunteer to fight for this country when you come back and the money that's supposed to go to you later on 20, 30 years down the road is just going to some country that you never even heard of, or a country that really has nothing to do with America? It's shameful what's going on right now. When you see videos, just random videos, I'm sure like a lot of people, they're on TikTok, they're scrolling away, right? Scrolling, and all they see is just Israel bombing Palestinians and Palestinians freaking attacking Israelis. It's just a nonstop war. And somehow the money that our taxpayers, like myself and you that are listening, are giving to the government every single paycheck is going to fund that war, while we have veterans. We have people starving in the inner cities, starving outside the inner cities, just starving, hungry, barely making it by. But it's okay though. 81 million votes, right? 81 million votes was going to change America for the better. Has it changed better? Please explain to me. Doesn't matter if you voted for Donald J. Trump or you voted for Joseph Biden. My real question for you is, has America improved? I highly, highly, highly disagree that it improved at all. Gas prices were, of course, they were high, of course, but then the elections come up, and right before elections, just like clockwork, elections, gas prices go down, unions sign all these contracts. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Things are happening right now in this country that are rolling behind the scenes, where we're going to have something happen. I don't know when, I don't know where it's going to happen, but it's going to be big. It's going to look like 9/11 is going to be like a cakewalk compared to what's going to happen. I have a feeling it's going to lead to it. The way everything's played out, you can just see it. Go to any social media site, any news agency, and it's all bad, just all bad, 99% negative. Like I am right now, just 99% negative. How can I be positive about anything to do with veteran health, veteran issues, or anything related to veterans when everything's negative in the world? If you are a true blooded American internally, I'm not. I'm an immigrant, right? I was born overseas. I came to America in the mid 80s, and I assimilated to be an American, because this country has given so much to me and my family. It's unbelievable. I cannot thank this country enough. That's why I served proudly for them for 10 years. And this country has given me quite a bit. But the last few years, actually probably the last 2 decades, certain individuals in the political spectrum have taken this country down a route that I never thought was possible. A lot of people from overseas and other countries leave. They refuge away from that country to come to America to get away from that crap. To do what? To vote for the very effing people that are trying to put them in the same position they were before they left. And they're okay with it. They're okay with it. It makes no sense to me, but that's the way it is, right? It's just that's the way America is. We're a melting pot of all these people from all over the world. You see all these people protesting about Israel bombing Palestine, and then you see all these protests of Israelis saying, stop Palestinians, quit killing Israelis. How about everybody just live together amongst each other and just be freaking happy? Okay. There was this great quote by a famous comedian. Yes, of all people, a comedian. I can't think who it was, but he said, "What? It's weird. If if the Palestinians, just listen to me for a second. The Palestinians put laid down their arms and said, okay, we give up. We want peace. We want to talk. We want to negotiate. Israel would stop killing everybody that they're killing, and peace would come to the Middle East. But if the Israelis stopped bombing them and the Israelis stopped firing at them and they put their hands up and said, hey, we're done. We want peace. The Palestinians would bull rush them and kill everybody in Israel and just burn that country to the ground. That's the difference about what's going on right now. And then, of course, the people that do all the atrocities before before the atrocities, they like to be the victim. They like to act like the victim when it's like, look, you have this one terrorist organization, the Hamas, that literally started all of this. Blame no one but Hamas on what's going on over there. I think my solution to solve the war in the Middle East, even though it will never happen, is you literally, if you're a Palestinian, find every piece of crap Hamas person and hold their feet to the fire. Make an example of them to the world. Make them an example in front of the Israelis. Make them an example in front of the United States, showing the world that they mean business and Palestinians want to live in peace as well. Because Hamas is the religious, the weird, the radical ones. They're the ones that would fly planes into buildings. They're that type. They literally skydived from a building. Think about this. The Israelis were just enjoying a music festival, right? You're enjoying a music festival. All of a sudden, you see these people in parachutes just skydive and just start shooting everybody at this concert. They started that war. But now that they're getting bombarded literally nonstop, all of a sudden they're victims. When those people that are getting bombarded should be going after the very people that started it in the first place. Am I wrong on this? Maybe. If you disagree, please comment in the chat. Maybe you can even say a little thing of something that you believe in. But here's the deal. If you support Hamas in the United States, me being a very pro-American, very pro-police, very pro-immigrant, legal pro-immigrant, if you support Hamas in any of this, I think the police, the government, whoever, the entities that control our country should round up every pro-Hamas supporter and deport them to Gaza, deport them to Iran, deport them to Jordan, and put them amongst their people. Put them amongst the people that want to live like the people that live there. So that way they can show them exactly how they live out there. If you're a proud supporter of the LGBT community, that's fine, which is great. I support the LGBT community. But if you're pro-Hamas, and you're in the LGBT community, just know you will be beheaded. You will be thrown off a rooftop. You will be burned alive. You will be shot in place. You will be run over by a car. You will be stoned to death if you're an LGBT community member and you go over there to the Middle East. But nobody ever wants to talk about that. How crazy they are sometimes. Their beliefs, how crazy they are sometimes. You, if you're a veteran, you're listening, you fought for this country. You did things for this country that you may or may not regret. I did things for this country that I may or may not regret. But I fought for my country proudly. Being in the middle of a desert, getting shot out with an AK-47 round, you're just praying to God that you don't get hit, you don't get sniped, you don't get blown up, you don't get stabbed, which I did, sadly. And then just to come home to a country that somehow is the opposite of what you fought for. Even worse is you have people who fought for this country that are on the side that are against the very things that you fought for. Talking to you, liberal clowns, the people that that support all of this BS that's going on right now around the country. This, supporting the defund the police movement, things like that. Really, you went and joined the military, fought for this country, and you joined these organizations that are literally anti-American. Unbelievable. If you're listening in right now, my name is Angelo Rocha. You're listening to Vet for Vets, a show where I take local Johnson County veterans and I interview them. But today things changed, and basically, I'm kind of just telling you about what's going on, what my beliefs are, what kind of things I've dealt with in my life. Okay, in case you haven't heard, or in case you don't know, if you live like a hermit, violence has broken out after weeks of tension stoked by violent clashes between the Israeli police and the Palestinian protesters in Jerusalem. Israel has carried out heavy airstrikes in Gaza with the Hanadi Tower, a combined office in an apartment complex owned by Hamas, targeted and destroyed. The militant group has fired rockets towards major Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv, Ashkelon, and Beersheba. with one volley of 130 projectiles thought to be single largest barrage ever seen. Footage posted on social media sites shows Israelis the Iron Dome missiles intercepting many of the incoming rockets as air and sirens blared in the background. Since the upswing in violence, many people have died in Gaza, while there have been a lot of deaths in Israel as well. The UN Middle East envoy Tor Wansland urged both sides to stop the ceasefire immediately, or excuse me, stop the firing and missiles immediately, stating that we're escalating towards a full scale war. No shit. No, duh. That's always usually what happens, isn't it? Seriously. Meanwhile, the Israeli defense minister Benny Gantz said that this is just the beginning of Israel's strikes, while Hamas leader Ishmael Haniyeh warned that if Israel wants to escalate, we are ready for it. Unfortunately, such violence and rhetoric are nothing new in a conflict that has killed thousands of people over the last 10 years alone. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, has been tracking deaths in the conflict since 2008, and its data shows that 5,600 Palestinians died up to 2020, while 115,000 were injured. 250 Israelis died the same period, while 5,600 were injured. Now, mind you, I told you what I told you. Benjamin Netanyahu said for every one Israeli that gets killed, 10,000 of them will die. That statistic alone kind of proves he's right. Isn't that enough for the Palestinians or people who are pro-radical, people that are pro-terrorist, to just kind of go, crap, we need to stop this? We're getting literally 1,000 to 10,000 innocent Palestinians, literally innocent children, innocent babies, innocent women, innocent brothers, innocent mothers who are just walking to the grocery store getting killed because of a radical group that wants to attack one Israeli or kill one Israeli. How about stop killing Israelis? That way, Israel doesn't retaliate by killing 1,000 to 10,000 of you. That's how you stop this war over there in the Middle East. Quit killing each other, especially these pro-Hamas people that are just nonstop violent. Look, I get it. They're upset that Israeli people mistreat them. I read facts. I get it. Israeli people are tough on them. They have a lot of cameras. They have weapon systems that are so far advanced. I get it. And they're scared. They don't know what's happening. There's a whole area in Gaza that's literally all homeless people living in tents, all because that's the way it is. And those are the people that are being bombed, the innocent ones. But at the same time, you have a group like Hamas that are hiding and sheltered behind hospitals, behind schools, behind fire departments, hiding behind police departments, hiding behind all of these buildings underground, hiding from the people every time they kill Israelis. How are you supposed to kill the people that are trying to kill you if they're just hiding behind innocent people? Thus, what happens now, or what is happening now, innocent people are getting killed by the thousands. Like I said earlier on in the show, it's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking when you have these little innocent children being held, moved around like rag dolls, and you figure out that they're dead. All starting because Hamas decided to take revenge on Israelis. Excuse me, Jewish people. Hamas and its radical counterparts want to annihilate every single Jew. Think back to a certain someone during pre-World War II that was trying to annihilate all the Jewish people. Oh, yeah, that's right, Adolf Hitler, right? That's that saying that history always repeats itself. It's true. It is absolutely true. But how do you stop this? How do you stop this, Angelo? Well, first of all, sometimes wars are needed. Sometimes. War needed to happen during World War II. The US needed to fight in the Pacific and needed to fight in Europe. Eventually, the war was won. It kind of pieced down, but things were changed, things were modified, and once again, a couple decades later, it just repeats itself, right? Starts out slowly. But it's crazy how all the political parties of the 1940s that were how would you say, socialists. They were Nazis. They were liberals. All these people that were pretty much anti-freedom are the very people that are rising up now, and they're getting positions of power in the United States and Congress. Clowns like Rashida Tlaib that are mocking the Israeli people, gathering and inciting violence against people. But somehow she's still in office. Somehow, I don't know how she's still in office, but she is. Ilhan Omar, who literally probably left that country that she was in because she wanted a better life. And then she comes to the United States, becomes a congressman, and then pushes the same agenda bullshit that she was getting away from. What kind of crap is that? That's not being an American. That's just being a freaking crap bag. And you have people like her that are in politics. When I'm quite sure there's somewhere in one of our amendments, somewhere in the Constitution where it talks about you can't be anything else but pro-American to be in politics here in America. But somehow, I don't know, things just are different. Unbelievable. Just reading the statistics here. The amount of rockets that Hamas has sent would make that the shock and awe invasion that the U.S. had on Baghdad in 2003 kind of impressive. Because that's the last time I remember that many rockets being shot. I was there. I was there at the Baghdad airport when we did the shock and awe, where the U.S. strategically bombed sites that were known to hold people that were evil. I mean, granted, weapons of mass destruction or no weapons of mass destruction, being there after about a year, you realize why we were there. Even though, was it right being there? Probably not. But when we were there, we saw the devastation that had occurred to the Iraqi people between the Iraq and Iran war. All of these cities just demolished and leveled. That was the totality of the war between Iraq and Iran, where everything was just demolished. There was barely anything built, but yet you had a dictator, Saddam Hussein, who was living in palaces made of gold toilets while his people starved. If that gentleman, or if that evil gentleman, had just spent his money wisely and given it to his own Iraqi people, I bet you what happened to him wouldn't have happened. Please come back. I'm going to be going on a little commercial break. This is Angelo Rocha with Vet for Vets. Thanks for tuning in. Please listen to me. Let's talk about veterans right after this break. Love y'all.
Attention all business owners and creative minds. Do you need a unique and personalized touch for your products? Look no further than Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs. We offer custom laser engraving services for a variety of products, including promotional items and corporate or personal gifts. With state-of-the-art equipment and a team of skilled designers, we can engrave intricate designs on virtually any material. Whether it's a special message, a company logo, or a custom design, Romika Laser Engraving will help you make your mark. And the best part, our prices are affordable and our turnaround time is quick.
I couldn't be happier with the work Romika Laser Engraving did for me. The engraving on my product was precise and exactly what I wanted.
So don't wait any longer to add a personal touch to your products. Call Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs today at 817-400-4040 or visit our website at romikadesigns.com. We look forward to helping you make your mark.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395. Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Welcome back to Vet for Vets. My name is Angelo Rocha, and you are listening to me talk about veteran issues and possibly what I had talked about the first half, the war that's going to happen in the Middle East between America and the world. But before I get started with my second half of the episode, or excuse me, the show of Vet for Vets on the JOCO Community Radio, I just want to mention that JOCO Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 24/7 on the TuneIn Radio Network. TuneInJoco.com is the place to find all the ways to listen and watch, and the station app is available for free on all Android and Apple devices. Simply search your store, and there we are. Check out our lineup and more at jococommunityradio.com. This episode and more are brought to you by Next Level Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep at 844-TEX-HAIL. That's H-A-I-L, HAIL, not H-E-L-L, because I live in Texas and there's a lot of country folk that say hail. So it's not Tex-HAIL, it's Tex-HAIL, H-A-I-L. That's 844-839-4245. Be sure to dress your arms and more at thetiffy.com. Thetiffy.com is Tiffany's personal website, and she has a lot of great stuff. Christmas is coming up. Go to that website, thetiffy.com. Highly recommend it, especially if you're a spouse looking for ideas to get your wife or your loved one or somebody that you're possibly hanging out with who is not your wife / your husband. Okay. So veterans, listen to me. I love you. I'm always available 24/7, 365. If it's 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, you have something going on and you feel like it's the end of the world, call me. I will answer the phone or reach out to me somehow. Go through social media. Say, hey, Angelo, you're well known. You're known throughout the world. Maybe, I guess. A lot of people seem to like me. I have an IMDb page, pretty popular. A lot of quite high on the rating. My wife says, quit bragging. I go places and I tell people about my business in California, my company, Saints, Angels, and Armageddon. We do well for ourselves. I've invested in companies that, production companies that went on to do great things with great shows. All right. I'm a screenwriter. I'm a producer. I'm a filmmaker. I do things that basically are what I love to do. And if you're a veteran and there's something you love to do, and if you ever want to do it, by golly, go follow your dreams. Don't just be stuck in a rut where you feel like you're bored or you feel like you got nothing going for you. If you love shooting, by golly, go shoot. If you love to drive, by golly, go drive. If you love golfing, go be the best golfer you can be. Be the best at whatever you want. My question is, somebody asked me a question. My buddy Miguel says, do you have a MySpace page? No, I do not have a MySpace page. I don't think MySpace has been a thing since like early 2000s. But if you have a question about veterans or how I can help veterans or how you can help veterans, please reach out to me. Simply find me everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Formerly Twitter, which is now X, which apparently it's this thing with Elon Musk. But anyway, okay, so getting back to where I was getting at earlier. If you're a veteran and if you got some issues going on, please call 988, okay? I don't need you to be a statistic. And also, if you haven't already, reach out to the VA. See what's available for you. Don't be proud just because you're a male and you're an alpha male that you don't deserve some stuff, okay? Regardless if you only worked on radios or you worked on laundry or you worked on Humvee tires, whatever it is that you did in the military, even if you weren't in combat, the matter of fact is you did the 1% that a lot of Americans don't do, is that's serving your country. One way to get rewarded for serving your country is by contacting the Veterans Affairs and seeing what's available for you. Everything is available for you, to be honest with you. You got educational benefits available for you, housing benefits, medical benefits. You have everything in the palm of your hands. And some of you are just, dang it, I hate to say it, but you're lazy. You would rather be homeless than taking and accepting what the government has to offer you, because sometimes the government, as much as a lot of people hate them, like I do because the taxes, but sometimes entities, subsidiaries of the government do help people like yourself. Okay? They do. The Veterans Affairs, as much as they love them or hate them, they do help people, especially when you're hooked up with the right person, somebody that actually cares about you, somebody that physically wants to help you get better through physical rehabilitation, through mental evaluations, through medical surgeries, hearing aids, wheelchairs, leg braces, arm braces, neck braces, everything that you can possibly think of can be going through the veterans. Do I believe that veterans deserve more? Absolutely. Because you have gentlemen out there and gentlewomen, mostly gentlemen, that serve 10, 12, 15, 20 tours. And where they come back to a country where it's like, oh, anti-police, anti-military. We're just going back to that mentality that they had during the Vietnam War, because you had these young men that fought for this country and they would get spit on. They would have bags of pee and piss and shit thrown all over them. When all they did was just follow orders. Unbelievable. Now, I say to a lot of my guests, and including you, there's always a 90-10 rule for every occupation out there in the world. The 90-10 rule is usually 90% of whatever occupation you do is usually pretty good. I'll give you an example. Teachers, 90% are usually pretty good. 10% are just really bad or not good at all. Police officers, the 90% are good, 10% are crap. They're racist. They're the type you see on TV that get sent to prison. I don't know. What's another occupation? Athlete. A lot of sports athletes, 90% are good. Then you have the 10% that are bad, that they end up in prison. They get beat their wives. They go to jail. But then you have occupations like lawyers, right? 10% are good. 90% are bad. Veterans, 90% tend to be very good. The 10%, they're either bad or they just do not give a crap about anybody or anything. If you're a veteran, one way you can make yourself another way you can make yourself be seen is by actually being a good person, treating others with respect, treating people the way you want to be treated. To be honest with you, that's just the way you should act, even if you're a veteran or not a veteran. That's a trait that every parent tells their young kid, their young child. Treat others like you want to be treated. But that's not what's going on right now. It's do as I say, don't do as I do. And that's kind of what's going on now with the hypocrites living and occupying the White House. I'm sure a lot of you who love me, a lot of you who watch me, a lot of who listen to me, a lot of who've been following me throughout my career in the screenwriting world and producing world. No, I'm conservative at heart. But at the same time, I listen to you, even if you're liberal, sometimes even when you're socialist. Okay? I get it. Everybody has the right to be heard. But every single time me and another conservative are talking, he or she just kind of nods their head and say, yeah, I disagree with you, but I get. Liberals, on the other hand, and socialists, on the other hand, as soon as I start bringing facts, statistics, numbers, truth, oh man, they're like that the monkey where they cover the ears, hear no evil. They just don't want to hear it. They throw a fit. Oh, no, 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 no. They interrupt you. They just go on, and they don't want to hear it, even though it's a fact, even though it's true. Had a friend of mine, close friend of mine, who's still my friend. He big time liberal, big time talking about Joe Biden Bernie Sanders type of liberal, where he's like literally a socialist, served in the military, good looking guy, hardcore liberal. He starts telling me about all the statistics that he got from CNN, the bullshit fake media about BLM. Of course, I'm like, nope, wrong. He's like, what are you talking about? So then I go to the FBI website. The FBI, by the way, the corrupt agency that Biden has running for him like little freaking lab rats. The FBI has a website where you see all these statistics. And I gave him some statistics about BLM. Excuse me, the people that embody that BLM criteria. And sure enough, he didn't want to hear it. Oh no, it's bull, it's BS. No way, that's not true. I'm like, it's right here on the website. So are you saying that you're being a hypocrite right now? Of course, he doesn't want to hear it because he has his mind set in stone. People, I love everyone. I treat people the same way I want to be treated, which is with respect. I try to help as many people out as I can. I get hundreds of freaking scripts and screenplays a day at least. And every now and then I'll find somebody who needs help. They want to get their foot in the door, and with screenplays or with some kind of musical ability, musical talent, and I help them. I'll Zoom chat with them, and I'll give them tips, criteria, like things that the Hollywood people are looking for, things that our talent agents are looking for, and a lot of them go on to have successful careers, or they go on to making a name for themselves, all because they listen to me. And if you listen, which I don't, according to my wife, I'm not deaf. I swear, I'm not deaf. But my wife always tells me, you must be deaf. I'm like, no, I'm not deaf. I'm just hard of listening. I just don't listen. And I'm quite sure if you're a guy, you can understand. I'm sure your wife does the same thing. I'm sure your husband does the same thing if you go that way. But either way, veterans, you matter to me, and you matter to a lot of people in this world. Your grandfather, your grandmother who served in the military matter to me, matter to people all over the world. You, as a veteran, are one of the most important people that we have in America, because not only did you fight for our country, but you believe in what America stands for. You shed blood, some of you, sometimes even limbs, for this country. And you want to give back to this country by doing things like being a police officer, being a paramedic after you leave the military. Me, I became like a mechanic who went on to become a producer slash screenwriter slash filmmaker. I wanted to follow my dreams. My family has always believed in me. My friends have always believed in me. Now, did I believe in myself? Maybe not. But it's through things like listening to this podcast slash radio show slash episode of Joko, of Vet for Vets on the Joko Community Radio. Either way, just being there for somebody like myself as a veteran matters. Like right now, I see the eyeball here on the screen in front of me. It says 5, 6, 7. It kind of just fluctuates. It just means that people are tuning in, just family members and friends, even if they don't agree with anything I'm saying or they think I'm BSing the whole thing. The matter of fact is, you still support what I do. I can be telling people in the world right now that I'm a billionaire and I have Maseratis and Lamborghinis. It doesn't matter if I'm straight up lying like a Democrat. But the thing is, I still want you to be there and listening to me. Listening to me, being there for me, to support me the same way I would be there to support you if you had something going on. Now, are there times where you don't need to be there? Absolutely. All right. If I'm celebrating a birthday party, who cares if you show up or not? As long as you wish me a happy birthday, I could care less, right? I'm sure everyone feels the same way. But it means a lot to a veteran when you're there for them. I'm just talking about my experience as a veteran. If I have family members that are there through the things that I love to do, then that means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to you as a veteran as well. That means whatever you're doing, if you're trying to be a screenwriter in Hollywood, like some of my friends, hopefully, that are watching, if you're trying to be a screenwriter or a filmmaker or a producer or somebody in the musical field or acting, right? It matters when people in your family support you. the same way it matters to a lot of other people out there who have supportive family members, even if they go broke. A lot of people follow their dreams. You have the ability as a veteran to follow your dreams. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60 or 70. It's possible. The famous director, John Ford, was a high ranking military commander in the military while studying in college to be a filmmaker, right? He serves his time. He works with famous people like John Wayne. He gets to work with some of the most famous actresses, most beautiful actresses. He gets to make a name for himself while also commanding one of the biggest military forces in the world. And what does he do when he gets out of the military? He directs some of the most famous, well-known films in history. And he goes down as one of the greatest directors of all time. You, it doesn't matter how old you are, you as a veteran have the ability to be the greatest, whatever it is that you want to be in of all time. If you want to be a dentist, by golly, be the greatest dentist that's ever was, or the greatest dentist that's ever been. You, veteran, when I'm talking to you about being a veteran, I'm not talking about just about you military veterans. I'm also talking about you police officer veterans, fire department veterans, first responder veterans, people who did their time in a field that's dangerous, highly dangerous, right? Look at the atmosphere that's going on right now with the police departments. Got all of these anti-police rhetoric coming from politicians of all people, when they should be the most pro-American people and pro-police people out there, since they have security guards with them full time, which makes no sense to me, but which is once again hypocritical, but like the monkey covering his eyes, see no evil. Unbelievable. You have the ability to make a name for yourself as a veteran. Starting right now, you have the ability to go to www.whatever.com and apply to whatever it is that you've always dreamt of doing. And then there's people out there like me who will help you. I'm not saying me as in, oh, I'm going to teach you how to be a doctor, but there's people who are experienced who can help you guide your way to wherever it is that you're trying to pursue. If you're trying to be a pilot, if you're trying to be an archer, if you're trying to be a bass fisherman, if you're trying to be a bowler, if you're trying to be a golfer, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're a veteran, there's somebody out there that'll be willing to help you, whatever it may be. Yes, times will be tough. Yes, times will test you, which is one thing that nobody can ever beat is time. All right. Yes, we do. All of us have a limited time on this earth. And yes, you have that one lifetime to make an impact on all the people around you. So I ask you this. You have one lifetime, right? Hypothetically, if that's the one lifetime you get to make an impact, why would you use it sitting back, scrolling through TikTok 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without ever doing anything with yourself? Go out there, be seen. Go out there and get involved. Go out there and let people know that you mean business. Go out there and make people know that you are somebody. You're not just a regular dude or a regular woman. Time is your friend. At the same time, time is your enemy. Do not be lazy. Love your family. I get emotional thinking about it because I love all of my family. Yes, it sucks that they've parted kind of ways over the years and they stopped talking to each other and they've and they've stopped pretty much communicating with each other. But me, I still love everybody in my family, regardless of their political beliefs. Their political derangement, their leftist political derangement. I still believe in them. I still love them and I still wish them success. You, the veteran, have the ability to inspire people. You, the veteran, have the ability to motivate people to do things. You, the veteran, have the experience to guide younger people in the right path. Quit doing drugs. Don't drink so much. I'm not going to say don't drink because I drink sometimes. Don't drink so much. Don't get involved with gambling and addiction. Quit watching so much damn porn and just put yourself out there in a way to where you're making an impact in your community. because even the smallest impact on one person means the world to that one person. And eventually karma will come around and it'll pay itself forward. I love every single one of you. Every one of them, every one of you that's listened to me, that's followed me over the years, and I can't thank you enough. Do I wish more family and friends would tune in to my radio show or other things I'm involved with? Of course. But at the same time, I'm kind of a private guy. I kind of keep things to myself, right? I can't thank Tiffany more than I've already have. For the last year, in case you don't know, that I'm pretty much hit my 1 year mark here on the Joco Community Radio Station. I've been doing this for a year now here with zero radio experience, but she gave me the opportunity to prove that I can do this. And every week, for the most part, because sometimes shows get canceled and things happen. I have things I got to do myself. Sometimes I can't do a show, but I can't thank her enough for giving me this opportunity to let my voice be heard. My friend here, Miguel Carrasco, said he wants to be a whale trainer. Go to SeaWorld, apply, get your application in and train with the whales. Or go to the nightclubs at 3 a.m. right before it closes. That's usually, that's so harsh. I'm sorry. That's really wrong of me to say, because I like the bigger girls. I'm sure a lot of people that know me, they know I like the bigger girls. Okay, it's just something I do. But anyway, listen, my show Vet for Vets is on every single week, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. If you are a family member, put it on your schedule, put it on your calendar. Call me, text me if you need more information about websites or where to watch me and or where to listen to me. And I'll maybe even name drop you, okay? Whatever. Maybe there's topics that you want me to talk about. Email me, message me. I'll talk about it on the show. As I'll keep doing this until Tiffany says, "Hey, I hate, you're getting bullshit. I need you out of here." But I love Tiffany, and Tiffany loves me back. Mutual, of course. Well, everybody, I love you guys. I can't wait to see where this show is going. All I'm asking is that peace come to the world. And if worst case scenario, we do get into World War III, all I got to say is I told you show. Excuse me, I can't believe I just said it. My language is I told you show. Really? That's a good one. Welcome to the I told you show. But anyway, so I told you that's what would happen when you have a socialist president in the White House, a liberal president in the White House, a Marxist president in the White House, a leftist clown in the White House. Because you have everybody on his party and his administration claiming that Donald J. Trump is going to cause World War III. Donald J. Trump is going to increase gas prices. Donald J. Trump, yada, 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 yada. 3 years later, and everything they said that Trump would do went the opposite way, and it's happening to their party. So now, when November of next year comes around, remember that. Remember everything that's happened in the last 3 years, including the lives that are probably going to be lost because of this war that's coming up in the Middle East all the way in the East, actually. You're going to have Russia, North Korea, Jordan, Iran. Oh, my Lord. I don't even want to I don't want to think about it. All of this is going to happen before the 2024 election. But just know, before the 2024 election, you're going to have COVID come back. So you veterans out there, be careful. All right, because COVID magically comes back before elections. So that way they can do what? Mail-in votes. Why would they want to do mail-in votes? Oh, because one mail-in vote can be modified and changed in the computer to 20,000 votes or 100 votes. Because if you do 20,000, I'm quite sure it'll ding on the computer, so they don't want that. That's why I'm a big proactive supporter of in-person voting. That means you go to the actual mailing booth or the voting booth, and you actually do your votes there live in person. You show your ID and you're there one time. Texas doesn't do mail-in votes except if you're a veteran or if you're disabled, and that's it. That is all. And every single state in this union should also be the same way. Because I have a feeling if we do exactly as I'm saying, and everybody shows up and only veterans and disabled are allowed to do mail-in votes, I guarantee you probably 100,000% the election will actually be fair. And probably no Democrat will ever be elected into office because everything that they've been doing is shady, highly illegal, and against the law. But that's just my conservative views. I'm just a plain old guy. All right. Just a plain old guy, just standing here in this studio talking about my life as a producer, screenwriter, filmmaker, and just regular dude who just happened to come upon amazing things happening in my life. If you are a veteran and you're listening to me right now, and you want to come on my show, it doesn't matter if you're from Johnson County, because Johnson County veterans they do reach out to me. But if you're outside of the Johnson County, Texas area, and you want to have, say, a live stream or a Zoom type of call on this radio station one day, call me, message me, contact me on Facebook or other social media sites, and I'll do like a kind of like a pre-interview where I ask you certain questions and talk over the radio about what we talk about. Like, don't say a million times, or like a million times, which sadly has happened to me quite a few times. But either way, people out there in the world want to hear your story. They want to hear all the amazing things you've gone through. They want to hear your sad, your happy moments while being a veteran. So reach out to me. Then you'll be on this side of the screen or this side of the screen where you're talking to me, and people out there in the world get to see you. Listen, this has been Angelo Rocha. You've been watching or listening to Vet for Vets. I love every single one of you. Treat everyone with respect. And by golly, let peace come to this world. This has been Vet for Vets. Love you.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call